If they believe some of what Kefee D says, do they have to believe all of what he says? He's implicated himself, right? But he's also implicated Sean Puffy Combs. Let's get into some of this straight game.
Black chat. Life is like some cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Black chat. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, a Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button notification. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want me to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think most people understand that the case against Kefee D is going to be a little bit harder to prove if they're just using his statements. And the reason why I say this is because most people say, well, can Sean Puffy Combs be indicted based on, the things that Kefee D has said, right? So now, this is where we run into the problem of, I want to believe some of what he's saying, but not all of what he's saying. And the slippery slope of when you have a jury and you're presenting certain evidence in the grand jury and as well as in front of the jury in court, right? So in certain interviews, mainly in the Art of Dialogue, basically Kefee D was asked about the money that Sean Puffy Combs was supposedly, allegedly had given him for the 2Pac situation, for the hit, if you will, right? And this story that they gave the money to Zip didn't give it to Kefee D, and so on and so forth, right? So now, if they're going to take Kefee D's word about what Kefee D said happened inside the car, him giving the gun to Dre giving the gun to Orlando, right? They just can't take what they want to hear and say, you know what, we believe this part. You have to take it all. You have to take it all. You have to take it all. And so, if Kefee D's lawyers say, well, my client said that, Sean Puffy Combs was the one who, wanted Suge Knight and 2Pac harmed, killed, or whatever you want to call it, or, he put a hit out on him for $1 million, right? Then they got to believe that too. And so, it's like what we do as humans sometimes, we want to believe what we want to believe. But then when we don't want to believe certain things about certain situations because they might be favorable to us, then we really don't want to believe that part. You know what I mean? And so that's the problem that the prosecutors face. Because if you believe, when Kefee D say, yeah, after, what happened after, you guys shot, Suge Knight and 2Pac. And like, oh, we went to get some drinks. We took the car, parked it in the parking lot, took the gun, put it under the wheel well, and so on and so forth, right? So for conviction's sake, to convict Kefee D, if you want to take all of that information, if you want to take that information and say, hey, you know what? He was callous. He didn't care. He showed no remorse, and so on and so forth. Well, when the question comes up about, well, why did you do it? And, the conversation that happened, he said that Puffy wanted 2Pac and Suge gone. And, Puffy had really got mad when 2Pac hit him up. And he was pissed off about that. And certain things he said about, 2Pac when he said about, my fofo will make sure all y'all kids don't grow and so on and so forth, right? Um, Understandably so. But like I said, if they're taking the evidence involving the videos, they can't just take a piece of that and say, okay, yeah, well, we believe this piece. It's like a wiretap. Somebody got your phone tapped, and you're talking about, let's say, selling tires, right? He got a business. He sell tires too. And he said, you're talking on the phone like, I want to buy 3 tires. How much are they for? Well, the tires, they 25 a piece. You don't say 25, they 25 a piece, right? But using that language, sometimes it's coded, drug conversation is coded. And they say, well, 25 a piece. I want 6 tires. Like you can say, people will say, well, who buys 6 tires? Well, you buy how many tires you want. But they got your phone tapped, listening for drug conversations, but you disguising it by talking about tires, right? Only to come to find out the person that you talking to, you actually do buy tires from, right? So it's like the prosecutor bringing that conversation in, and then they're questioning the person that you're talking to because they may have flipped on you, right? And say, well, Mr. Jones, when Mr. Sims is asking you about tires, what is he actually referring to? And he would say, well, he's referring to kilos. He wants to buy 6 of them, right? Oh, okay, cool. But then, the guy on, being charged, like I said, Mr. Smith, he said, okay, well, no, actually, he sells tires. He owns a tire place, right? And his lawyer can prove that, he's bought in tires. His, receipts where he's bought tires from him before. Dude, he's a heavyweight. He got a couple little businesses. He sell tires, you know what I mean? They do oil changes and all of that, but he's still doing his 1-2 on the side. You know what I mean? He's a real heavyweight. That type of stuff, And so now the prosecution pulls up these receipts where you went and got four brand new tires for your Mercedes Benz from one of his tire shops, right? See what I mean? So the prosecutor wanted to use what they thought was drug conversation, and then, well, we got to listen to the rest of the conversation. Not only that, we got to look at the rest of this evidence right here because he has receipts and so on and so forth. Yeah, that doesn't fly. You see what I mean? And so, in the same thing with the 2Pac murder and involving Kefee D, we know what he said, and like I said, I believe that he incriminated himself, and it was the craziest thing in the world that he could ever do, coming out and talking reckless and being careless like he was. But like I said, if they're gonna take one part of what he said, they got to take the entirety of what he said. You cannot, but this is the thing, like the law. So you go, well, they don't want to pursue, Sean Puffy Combs. It's in their right. Even though we may think, well, damn, this is what's supposed to happen, right? They say, well, we don't feel like we have enough evidence. They don't even consider the evidence. This is the power that they have to be able to not have to do that from that perspective. So it's like, okay, well, the evidence is right there, because if y'all using his words against him on this, then he said this about Puffy, so y'all got to go get him too. Well, we don't feel like the evidence is strong enough, against Mr. Combs and so on and so forth, right? This is the thing about the law, and it being applied equally across the board, if you will. And so that's why I think that it's not going to be as easy as they think, it would be, unless they talking about dropping some crazy harsh penalty on Kefee D and he just decides to take a plea. But at this particular time, he's 60 years old. So if they give him 20, you know what I mean? If you survive till you're 80, you okay, cool. So this is the thing that, I think that Kefee D might be considering at the end of the day, because, the case is not really circumstantial. It's basically Kefee D was the best witness for the prosecutor and the jury. You really don't need to bring anybody in. And from what I just recently found out, as they showed the Art of Dialogue, his interview from 2021, to the grand jury, and that was part of the reason why they charged Kefee D. So, in understanding that, and actually me and all the dialogue, we had a conversation about that. I was like, I'm like, dude, doing a lot of talking, and if they come get them, they gonna use your interviews. You know what I mean? I'm like, so with that being said, yeah, but that's the thing that, the conundrum, should I say, that Kefee D is in at this particular point. Like I said, when who self-incriminates like that though? You know what I mean? They gave you a proffer agreement. All you had to do was ride into the limelight, and I get it. A lot of times, selling his book, but then he getting paid to be on these channels and things like that. Money is always a motivator too. But like I said, so I want to watch closely to see how they're gonna handle this from that perspective. Like I said, because if you believe one thing he's saying, you got to believe all of what he's saying in totality in relation to that, right? And even in the proffer agreement, like I said, Kefee D said, yo, they met down at Greenblatt's in Hollywood. This was what happened. He even said Ron Isley, Angela Winbush, and a couple of other people was there. They went downstairs. They were talking, blah, blah, blah. He's saying, yo, I want this, that, and the other to happen. Boom. Then Kefee D also said, well, after it happened, he got a call. He said he got a call from Faith Evans asking, was that you? Was that y'all? I'm sorry. Was that y'all? And Kefee D was like, yeah, because that's who I was in contact with. That was his contact, Faith Evans. That's what he said. But actually, look, check it out. So this is going to get very interesting, man. You know what I mean? This is going to get very interesting. We're going to see. Y'all chime in and tell me what you think. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.